If you are into racing games and sim racing, you may be familiar with brands such as Forza Motorsport, Assetto Corsa, iRacing, and particularly Gran Turismo. Pioneer of the genre since the PS1 era, the Japanese title is one of the most important brands, not only in the racing game scene, but in the whole video game industry. The real driving simulator was a concept so popular that it literally dominated the entire market, leaving zero space for competition from other companies, as no one has ever been so brave to challenge the Sony giant. No one, except for the simple title that came out in 2005, Enthusia Professional Racing, developed by no less than Konami. The game was the company's direct contender to Gran Turismo 4, set to be launched right that year, and saw a promising future ahead, as many believed it had an extremely high potential to threaten Gran Turismo, thanks to many innovations, quality contents, and incredible mechanics right ahead of its time. An underrated gem from the past, Konami's direct challenge against Sony. This is the story of Enthusia Professional Racing. We are in the early 2000s, the golden era of the PlayStation 2. Technology was advancing with a never-stopping pace, with games becoming more complicated, realistic, and immersive. Manabu Akita, a Japanese independent game designer, saw the great potential offered by the PlayStation 2 as an opportunity, and directly spoke to Konami to propose his idea of a racing game. Bringing a 100% accurate car simulation to the consoles, ditching the stereotypical simcade approach to give players the most immersive and realistic driving experience they've ever had. The company immediately showed their interest in the project and gave full trust to Akita, providing him with all the needs, tools and facilities to craft this game. Realism was clearly the standing point of the Enthusia project, and Akita wanted to make it clear to everyone. During the development of the game, he personally visited numerous manufacturers' headquarters to show the potential of his game, and earned the possibility to feature some of their cars in the title. Many brands were completely astonished by the simulation offered, and instantly wanted to be a part of it. Some of them even stated that this was the most realistic racing game ever made, and it could give the possibility to train racing drivers. It was clear that the game had an incredible potential, but still, there was something more to add to the recipe. Despite the attention given to the physics, the game didn't lack any of the other areas at all. One of the prominent aspects of the game was the whole atmosphere and the vibe it created. Every track had its own environment. Most were inspired by iconic cities and locations such as Paris, London, and Tokyo, or even some unusual but charming places like the Akiyoshido, Rothenburg, Mount Aruma, and even the Dubai desert. Not only that, Enthusia also featured 211 cars ranging from compact cars to motorsport and supercars, rally cars, touring models, GT racers, and even Le Mans prototypes. Clearly, these numbers were far away from the 800 cars and 51 tracks of Gran Turismo 4. However, Enthusia could count on something that Gran Turismo never had. The main peculiarity of Enthusia were the two game modes, Driving Experience and Enthusia Life. The first one was a driving academy, in a similar style to the license test system of Gran Turismo, but still different thanks to its gate checkpoint mode approach. The player had to travel through all the checkpoints during the test, trying to stay at the optimum speed required. The higher the speed and numbers of checkpoints cleared, the higher the final performance points. A good way to learn how to drive fast before attempting the career mode. The Enthusia Life mode consists of a series of races divided per class. The player must climb the driver rankings to race in higher classes, and finally to take part in the Grand Final Championship. What's iconic about this mode is that the game penalizes the player for unfair and reckless driving, removing life points whenever a crash occurs. If the player loses all of their life points, they will miss the next race, and consequently losing places on the rankings. As you can see, not only Enthusia has a major attention for realism in physics, sounds and graphics, but it also forces the player to drive in a clean way, bringing the realism and simulation of real racing to an upper level. And so, with everything in its place, the game was ready to hit the market. But here's where things started to get more complicated. From the beginning of its development, Konami never put a real effort in the marketing campaign of Enthusia, and the only few press events left the team with more questions than answers. Journalists were unsure about the market potential of the game, and despite being aware of the quality and realism of the mechanics, they doubted its effectiveness, commercially speaking. After all, Enthusia was more of a simulator rather than a simcade, and at that time, nobody was actually ready to play such a complicated game with the limited hardware accessible to the public. For too many, the Enthusia experience was simply frustrating rather than enjoyable. Akita was so confident about what he was doing that he used everything in his power to reach his dream, and it went on for so long that many labeled him as arrogant or even blinded by his unrealistic vision. And ultimately, they were right. Enthusia was a commercial failure. It failed to keep the challenge to Gran Turismo 4, a game that offered more contents and was way more accessible to everyone, and the fact that Enthusia was released 2 months after GT4 didn't help at all. The company wasn't happy about that, and after just 1 month after Enthusia's release, it dismissed the development team, fired Manabu Akita, and ultimately erased and destroyed every single promotional material and references to the game, both physically and from the internet. The last attempt for a racing game by Konami so far that went forgotten for a long time. Manabu Akita went unheard of by the public since then. Nobody ever found or heard information about what he's been doing in all these years. Some say that he founded an independent company to make video games on his own. Some instead say that he simply stopped making games and lives a normal life somewhere in the world. However, what's sure is that, despite its poor success, Manabu left a powerful message to the world of racing games. A game that probably wasted its potential or that simply wasn't ready for the 2005 market, but that is being revisited and discovered again for the first time more than 10 years later. It's unsure if we are gonna see an Enthusia sequel in the upcoming years. For now, we have nothing to regret.